Okay, welcome to the next part in this series. As you may recall, when I finished the previous video, this will come out a few days later than the last one. It's being made at the same time, but it'll be edited and released later in the week, i.e. now, as you're watching it. When we left it, we had a bit of a complication regarding the top line here, going to and from Glendale in relation to try and get trains to and from for the purpose of getting iron ore, which we've now resolved because I've missed off a single track. So rookie mistake, but easy done. So that should be hopefully on there. You all may recall that we also have some new engines, which I've put on a couple of trains so far, and the rest will get done off screen after I finish this video. Today's video we're going to crack on with the quartz mining, which was from the geology. So let's go into the geology department. You may remember here we looked at this. Now what we'll do this minute, I'm going to just open this one up and set my guys to work because they've been asleep for a while. So we're going to set them to work because they've done nothing for a bit. So let's just assign them and get this one running and let them carry on. But in the meantime, let's click on here, and we may recall I mentioned that this particular block had discovered quartz, so we're going to set up a mine. And what we need to do, it looks like it's showing us in the green area where we can set up this mine. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the mine up, say, somewhere here, like that. And it looks like it's going to be a new settlement. So what we're going to call this, and what should we call this? Let's go with New Quartz City. How does that sound? There we go. So this is the new quarry, which will then generate it's already starting to generate quartz. Now, by generating, and this is just me, this is the first time I've done this, so that bear with me. But looks like what's happening here by generating the quartz and setting up a new settlement. What's actually happening is that you will be able to put a train station here, and that does mean that at least that way you will be able to transport the quartz to the brickworks, because it's the brickworks that you need to generate your bricks. Now, you may recall here on the industry land we can set up the bricks by utilizing quartz, clay and coal, which gives us then the bricks we need. It's going to cost us about $1 million to set the brickworks up, so this will be one of the things that we'll want to do here. And it's quite useful to put it there because we are literally just down the road here. Now, the possibility, I'm just going to look at the train line. What we will do is we will probably get it to join this one here, so the Hamilton one, and then return back this way, because I've only got 3 lines run down through here, and that was not an issue. This particular inside line is heading to Port Orange, so in theory there's no harm with it actually joining on to this line that's going there. So if the trains are heading up to Port Orange, I stand corrected, please. I've just realised there's T8, so it's going the other way. So that's just ruined that idea. So they can come down this way. I should have clicked on there, didn't I? There we go. So it can come down, but we would then need to introduce a new track to go back. Now I think if I was to expand this track, it would go that way. So it might be that we go around the block on that basis. We'll have a think about that. We'll play around with that. So yep, so we've now got that in place. So let's just again have a look, see what we need. We need some clay. Now the clay is up here. So again, that's all in the same line. And we need coal. Now we don't have any coal in Chero, but we do have a coal mine in Pasadena. So again, we can look to utilize all 3 of this in the same area. In fact, scrap that. I might be tempted to put the brickworks in Pasadena, because then we can then transport them from Port Orange to Pasadena, quartz to Pasadena, and obviously the coal's already here, so we could do it that way. And basically what we could do is we could move the coal over into the required I would imagine the warehouse, which will go into the required line. So it's going to take a little bit of kind of jiggery pokery, but we'll work it out. In the meantime, what else can we do today? Let's continue with our research. So we've got one guy that we can do there. Bang. And then we want one with two. So let's do this one down the bottom here. I'm kind of holding back hiring another research specialist this time. I don't need one. We are limited to the number of people we can have in the office without upgrading the office. And again, I don't really want to do that just yet. What's happening here? Someone's obviously needed a bit more. Okay, and this is the problem. Because I cannot upgrade any more on the rail station. Let's see if we can do that here. Right, let's upgrade this to level 3. So the 3 locomotives can be done at the same time. There we go. And I am going to add a trap, but as you can see, it's going to go to the right. Okay, so this is moving on quite nicely. So what else has happened in the updates since the last time we looked? I haven't really looked at this too much. I've just noticed at the top of the page here there is a tax payable section. Now what it's doing is it calculates how much tax is due each quarter, and at the end of the year, in this case on March 1st, which we just had March here, it looks like this figure will then start to grow throughout the year, and then it'll be deducted and payable at the relevant time. So when it comes to the end of the quarter, we should then see this figure start to maneuver. I've got a feeling there's been some other behind the scenes stuff that's been going on, so some slight changes. I mean, we're already aware of the train, the signals that's occurred, so that kind of is one of the things that's, and I said to you before, basically when trains are travelling on the track, that if, say for example, this one turns red now, if something was to come behind it, it cannot go into this small section until that one's moved. But because there are multiple signals now, it makes life easier, so it'll always be moving. Okay. And how did the lobbying come across? So we haven't done anything else with lobbying at the moment. We're going to leave that for a minute. Let's go into geology. That's still looking. And this is building up quite nicely. I'm tempted to set a rule for lumber. So let's go into lumber. Set up a rule. So basically move from lumber if I have less than 5 in stock. No, let's say I have less than 10 in stock and they have more than 28. Now what this means is that once they hit to 28, start slowly moving across to there, the lumber, so we can start moving that out. I'm not going to move any at the moment. I'm going to leave them where they are for now. It's quite handy just to leave them where they are. Okay, so this is another wood track that's coming in to here. And it's going straight into the City Hall. So I'm going to change this one. So again, we're going to edit the load. That's going to stay as is. Coal is coming from... Yeah, that's fine. We'll continue with that. Although actually it'd be quite handy if the coal did go to the pottery factory now. So we'll change that. And we'll unload in the pottery factory instead. There you go. And what we're going to do with the wood is we are going to, with Pasadena, we are going to now unload it in the warehouse. And then that will go straight into the lumber mill. Now let's have a little more think of say about this brickworks, because we are building up quite a bit of money now, which is quite handy. So we should be able to start moving stuff across. We know at the moment, going by the train signals, that this line here, and the reason I'm looking at this is because of the clay pit, is going into Port Orange. So if we were to come out of Port Orange to go to Pasadena, we would need to create another line. And this where it could prove interesting, because we're going to build another train station here for that purpose as well. Right, so, and then we've got the coal already there. So I want to see if I can move stuff from the coal mine into the warehouse. So again, we'll click on warehouse, we'll click on coal, and we'll set up a rule. So check both storages. If they have less than, so we want to move it across. So if they have less than, say, 20. No, if I have less than, actually no, if I have not less than 25, if I have less than 1, which is 0, and they have more than 20, then we will then be, yeah, so we're going to be buying, as you can see, it's going to be bought from the coal mine into there. Actually, let's change that over to 15. Yeah, so we're going to move across up to 15. So as long as it doesn't take them below 20, which it doesn't. Now that doesn't mean that comes out of our pocket, because it's not being used on anything at the moment, so we can't sell it, but we are going to use it. So let's lobby Pasadena again, and we want to lobby again for another bit of industrial land. Now, it'll take a few days for that to happen, and then what will happen is we will build our brickworks. But in the meantime, let's build a station over here, a nice small station here. We don't need a big station, we just need a small station. And we want it to, let's try to think where we need to put the tracks to. I want it to join the track that's coming down from Port Orange. So let's go this side. Okay, add a new facility, repair shop. Always add in a repair shop. And also we're going to add some tracks. So it's going to be a sizable one, but we'll just go from there. And then maintenance, and then we'll add faster maintenance, and then we'll add the same usual, basically. We won't upgrade anything at the moment on there. Okay. Now, all being well, if we go up here, this track's already in place. Yeah, we've got a track already there. That's good. And this one has got plenty of tracks in, so let's use I want to use that one, the third one and the middle one, to join with this one. That's right, yeah. So what we need to do then is we need to click on our track. We want to join that, and it goes all the way across. And then it just slowly just drifts in. Oh, cancel that bit. No, I don't want to cancel the whole project. Let's try again, shall we? So we go slowly across. I want to keep the speed running as much as possible, but it will slow as it joins the track. There you go. Confirm. And we'll set a station on that. Now this is what I'm going to tell you about the signals, where you shift click. So you press shift and you click on what you need. So we need to go that direction, and as you can see, it's automatically set up about 6 signals, and that will join that line there. Okay, now we are going to do the same now with this track coming back down. So we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to join the track, and we're going to actually make sure it kind of sits in line. So remember, as before, if you press Alt, it will snap to the existing train line that's already in place. And we're going to do all that pretty much most of the way down until we get to about here, and then we're going to come off the track. And then join it. So it goes in there, and again, what we're going to do, we're going to put station signals on here. So we're going to close that one down, put the signals on, and we want this one to be that direction. So again, shift and click, and we now have train tracks coming down from Port Orange. And the last thing we need to do is to join this track to this one. So what we need to do is we'll probably use the inner one. That's the return one. So actually what we do with return, we need the return one to come in. It's going to come back in an angle. So how do we do this? Okay, this shouldn't be too bad. So we know this one's already going to be joining this one. So what we'll do is just click on this here. And what I want to do is I want to come off at an angle. So we'll just zoom in a minute. Now it will be slow coming back in. Okay, so we now know that this signal here needs to be so that should. No, the only problem is here. This is showing us two-way, but we want it to show one way. There you go. That's sorted. So what will happen now, as you can see with the train tracks, you've got the trains coming from Pasadena, heading up to Port Orange. That's that track. But then this track here, this section here, there is a. We're going to zoom right in close. You can see there is a crossing. And that will cut across the one that's coming down from Port Orange to go to Chero, but it will then eventually end up in Newport City. And all we need to do now is we need to add a new track from here so that it then joins the far one. Now again, it will be slow, but it should work. So in theory, what should then happen with this track is that this track will go this way. It will then, if you zoom in, go right across the two other tracks, and it will join the one that's coming down from Port Orange. Now, to see if this actually works properly, we're going to need to buy a train. So let's get a train from Pasadena, because that's the nearest train depot. Buy one of the new ones, and we're going to do from Newport City, and we're going to put in the quartz, and we should be able to do 4. That's good. And then we're going to add the station, and that's Pasadena, to unload into can't at the moment until we got the brickworks in place. So let's stop that for a second. We'll revisit that in a moment. So hopefully industry land's perfect. That's been done. So this is going to drain our resources for a bit. So let's bang in the brickworks. 726,000. Now you notice it's cheaper to build. This is why I was saying making Pasadena the main hub for most of our buildings, because it's cheaper to build the brickworks in Pasadena than it was to build them in Chicharra by about some 300,000. Fantastic. So we now need to, now it's asking us for everything under the sun. So what we need to do now, first of all, is to set the rule up on the warehouse. So we've got coal coming in, and we need to move coal to the brickworks. So basically, if I have more than 2 in stock, and they have less than 1 in stock, send it straight over. So it should be moving everything over. Actually, no, not less than 1 in stock. See, I keep forgetting this. They need to have 30 in stock. That's right. So we're going to move everything across now. So all the coal that's coming from the warehouse will go in there. And as you can see, it's also going to move from here into there as well. So we've now got the brickworks in place. We now need to put a train in line. Actually, we're going to start a train line from Port Orange. So we're going to buy a locomotive. And we're going to do it from Port Orange, and it's going to be unloading clay. So we get 4 clay, we're going to add stationery, and we're going to put it to Pasadena, and we want it into the brickworks. So we're going to unload into the brickworks. And also what we could do is we can then load, do Port Orange want mail? They do. So what we're going to do is we're going to unload some mail. So I'll load mail from Pasadena. 3 loads of mail, and we're going to unload that in Port Orange. And that's 1 train on its way. We're now going to do exactly the same with Quartz City. So we're going to need to load up, and then we unload that in Pasadena. Now the only problem is I think I've done it in City Hall. I don't want it in City Hall, I want it in the brickworks, but we'll check that in a moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Save. Let's just check on T18. So unloading at the brickworks. So no, it isn't loading the brickworks. So let's watch this now. Hopefully. So T19 is going to drift in this way. And it should. Let's speed it up, shall we? There we go. That should now load with the quartz. And in the meantime, T18 is coming down with the clay. And away we go. And I think what I'll do is T17 is doing absolutely nothing at the moment. We'll leave it in the train station for a few moments, but it's doing absolutely nothing. But you can see now we've now got quartz, we've got clay, and it's starting to build up our bricks. The coal will continue to be topped up from the warehouse and the town centre, but it's at a point where it's not going to do anything because it's full. So that's absolutely fine, no problem. Now, as you can see on the top right hand corner, basically our quest is to develop 60 bricks and deliver to North Las Vegas. Now, as you can see, that's right up the very top here, and this is something that will happen in a little while because I've got it also needs steel, so that's perfectly handy as well because we could then use the steel to go over there as well. But at the moment I'm in no hurry to shift stuff across there because we need to construct another set of train lines, and it looks like I'm going to have to probably go this way because this is all mountainous and this is going to be absolutely horrendous to get through there. So we'll go that way. So there we have it. We now have a brickworks in place. We have a lumber mill, and Pasadena is definitely building up quite a bit now, to the point that it's becoming a bit. It's going to become a big city before long. Um, you know, we're at 1890. I would imagine probably as soon as we hit the 20th century, this will start to, as you can see, that there are houses going up all over the place, or tenants going up all over the place now. So this will be beneficial in due course. I'm just trying to see if there really needs anything else in that basis. What I might do is sit down and work out what train goes where, good old-fashioned pen and paper, and then kind of develop a better schedule moving forward. But in the meantime, and how are we doing with steel? Steel is at 12, so it's slowly drifting along. I'm not in a position yet till I want to move that to the warehouse, but you know, that may come in sooner rather than later. Let's look at the geology department, see if that did it pick anything else up. No, it didn't. Can we allow them to do again? We'll assign them to do exactly the same again. So as you can see, there's a lot that needs doing on this. And again, I hope you are enjoying this. I mean, obviously, there's me just muddling along like the rest of us do, and I'm not claiming to be infallible. So, of course, you know, if you find that there are things that can be done better, then I'm happy to hear them. Absolutely happy to hear them. Tempting to start doing other things like, yeah, let's look at things like lobbying for other cities close by, with a view of if we can reduce the costs now, and then when we come to build there later. And these are the places we'll build, like your bakeries, your banks and stuff like that. In fact, at the moment, I'm tempted, with the money I have in pocket, to construct my own bank. There we go, and that will start generating a very, very small income. Not a huge amount, but a small income. I don't think it can be... Yeah, buildings will be increased in due course by the look of it. I don't think it's something you do on yourself, but yeah, so we'll look at that again eventually. So let's just zoom out, look at our map for the last time today. Yep, there we are. So, as I said before, what I'm going to do before the next video is I'm going to go through what I've got here. I'm going to try and streamline what I have in place, so we'll probably have some trains being replaced, others being redirected, and maybe even some of the rail routes will be redirected as well, but we'll look at that. I'm quite happy with what's on there, but we'll have a look at that eventually. And move on to the next stage. So again, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.